Hello and welcome to the Thousand Tales podcast. I'm your host, Connor Logan, and this is another poetry reading of the Ventura County Poetry Project in conjunction with the Thousand Oaks Library System. Today we have another great reading from the last Wednesday of the month, which is the Thousand Oaks main branch reading, and hosted by my co host for the Newberry Park branch, Ron Fullerton. And we have a special guest, just like we did a couple of weeks ago. And following that, some wonderful poetry in the open mic section from a number of great local poets. So please put on your headphones or whatever you want to listen to this on. Go for a walk, get some work done, enjoy the poetry. All the best to you and yours.
Kind of an inspiring story. So Ben, what's the idea is that the poets here would write some poems about the themes in the book, and we would kind of make that the theme of the featured reader.
If that's something you were interested in doing, it's all up to you. This is your program. We just wanted to put it out there and see if you would be interested.
Okay, it sounds interesting to me. Um, if there is, what would happen with the poems? Will they be published anywhere on the library's website or anything like that?
I do not believe so, unless that's something you'd like. If it's something you'd be interested in, I can absolutely talk to the other members of the One City, One Book Committee and see if that's something we would like to do. This is sort of a scaled back version of the program this year because just due to certain circumstances, we had far less time to plan it than we normally do.
Right.
So we are sort of throwing a lot of different ideas out there for what we want to do with it this year. And we wanted to bring it up with you guys in your group if this is something you might be interested in.
Okay, I love the idea. I think it's a great thing. Ben, I sent you an email on this as well.
Yes.
So then our mission as poets, we'd have to quickly read the book and be ready to maybe the March version of this fourth Wednesday reading. We could, in lieu of having a featured reader, we could have several of us read our poems, something like that. Any thoughts on this from the group?
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Marcia, I saw your hand go up.
Does it have to be so fast, like in March? Isn't it like a longer period of time for this book, or is it? Did I misunderstand?
No, the programming will be in March. The program ends with the author reading on April 3rd.
Oh, it is early. Yeah.
Okay, so it would be in March. All right.
Yeah, we're on kind of a crunch schedule for this one because we had the author read in November for the last book after postponing them for 2 years due to COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's quick, but I think we can get at least several people to write a poem. I'll definitely write one for it. And we'll talk to the group later about that. But Ben, thank you for thinking of us on this, and I'll be in touch with you offline about that. Okay.
Of course, and thank you for considering it. Feel free to reach out to me about it anytime you want. I put a link to the publishing page in the chat. And we should, if you're interested as well, have a page for the One City, One Book event going live on the library website within the next couple days.
Okay, great. Hey, Ben, would you mind actually typing in the title of the book?
Absolutely. I will type in the title and all the information right now.
Okay, great. While we're doing announcements, I've got an announcement to make on February 9th. That's the second Wednesday in February. Our featured reader will be, drum roll please, David Oliveira.
Oh, great. Great.
So we definitely look forward to that. Ben, and not Ben, Marcia and Phil, I know you guys always have some announcements. So let me hand the mic to you.
Just have Elizabeth Kulbs is reading tomorrow night at the E.P. Foster. And I'm not sure who else is, actually. I know other people are. So let me look at this real quick. EP. And we've got some pretty good readers coming up. So it's going to be really great. Of course, popping right up. There it is. It is, let's see. Then the week after that, it's going to be Jerry Garcia, not the dead guy, and Marcy Wingard. And then after that is going to be Paul Willis. So we've got some really good poetry coming up in February.
Fabulous. Okay. Marcia, any announcements from you?
Not tonight.
Okay, all right. Any other announcements from the poetry world? Anyone? Any exciting events going on?
I know.
Probably online only. Okay, well, without further ado, could I ask everyone to please put your computer on mute, because we have a lot of folks here and there's a lot of opportunity for background noise. I am really excited about tonight's feature reader. I always enjoy hearing Jean Kalonimos and her poems about dance. I feel like I'm peeking backstage at a ballet company or a contemporary dance company to see what it's really like in that world, and the relationships and all the intrigue that goes on backstage. So I'm really excited. Jean was a member of the Martha Graham dance troupe in New York City. So she definitely was in the scene back in the 1960s. And she's been writing poetry on a number of topics, but this is definitely one of her favorites and one of my favorites too. So Jean, without further ado, I turn the mic over to you.
Thank you. Can you all hear me? And you're
Yes.
good? Okay. Yes, the 1960s was my time, and Martha Graham, who was I was in the company for 3 years, from 65 to 68, early 69. She was still dancing at 68 at that point, which was amazing. But I grew from a person. My first poem is about my, I don't know how to describe it, my love affair with Martha in terms of her technique. And that's the first poem. It's called Dear Martha Graham. I swallowed your every breath and word. When born again into the light of beginner, I hungered for your milk to nourish and grow my previously schooled ballerina body, heart, and mind. My need for your attention, first as a scholarship student, then as a member of your company, paralleled others' desires. To look at me, Martha, look at me. You were my passion, my devotion and despair. It took so long to be asked into the company. Your creations, the reason for shifting my life's dream from marriage to dancer's cells, multiplying in my soul. I was blessed with a runaway love I could not control. The older forgave the younger me for how I excised my husband from my life. I believed in a bigger design. I believed in every gut punch into contraction and freedom into release. I believed in the use of the flexed foot and the first third of class as a half-hour warm-up on the floor. Starting in child's pose, I deep breathe into contraction, hinge backwards, my body suspended over the heels, the light like water flowing through me as I grab hold of the heels, then thrust my pelvis forward, into a steely arc of beauty. Every moment a sea change, every moment a dangerous slide into the birth canal of your art. Thank you. And yeah, this second poem is just, I was in the chorus, I was in the core, and Martha did the most, the great thing about Martha, that Joseph Campbell, the guy who wrote about myth and ritual, he called her a genius because all of her work, she turned the stories from the Bible, from myth, into, they were female centered. So for example, Clytemnestra was not about Agamemnon and the Trojan War. It was about Clytemnestra. And so the first, it's a long poem, and it goes through the dances, and it also describes some of the personal relationships between the company and me. It refers to my first session, my first time with the Graham Company. I was the newbie, and yeah, it was difficult. So the first section of this deals with Clytemnestra. 2 deals with Night Journey, about, well, it's my personal, what happened backstage before we went on stage, but it was about Jocasta. It was not about Oedipus. And the third section is about the legend of Judith from the Apocrypha. And the last part, also about Clytemnestra, is really Martha's take on the culture of women and what happened to Clytemnestra and what happened to Agamemnon and Orestes when they were judged by the court in the underworld. 1, dressing room of mouse house dimension, teeter-totter makeup tables, a tiny tea towel defines each woman's space to face paint. 2 dancers against 1. I'm the newest company member, ripe for hazing. Under stage lights, the patterns change. As furies in this horse race paced dance, we're messengers of vengeance, seeking justice for Agamemnon and Cassandra's murders, which somehow equalizes the playing field between my enemies and me. We chase after the guilty Clytemnestra, where at one point 3 dancers line up diagonally across from another trio. In second position plie, some call the position of love. We slice our arms through the sides of our bodies and stretch across to one another. United in purpose, we are a 6-horse team. Offstage, the hostility continues, but the memory of that eye-locking moment when our arms reached out to one another moved us beyond that cold, contentious place. 2, night journey. Is there a thaw? In the downstage left wing, Martha calls the dark side. My enemy is hunched right behind me before we, the chorus, run on stage. To dance blind Tiresias's prophecy about Queen Jocasta and Oedipus. As our music cue booms 3 times, I draw on billboards of possibilities. What happens next, I wonder? Racing on stage. My first rehearsal of Legend of Judith. As if I were a stuffed animal. My dear foe withholds information